Good morning and welcome back to another episode of Restore to Explore with the HZ Kingswood. So it is a chilly morning here. It's about 7 degrees and unironically we are putting the heater system back in the Kingswood so that on mornings like this when we're driving around we can be nice and toasty. So not all of the heater components from this car have made it to now. A couple of rats that were in this car before I bought it had chewed out most of the vent system, so a lot of it had to go in the bin. So I've sourced some parts from some other cars and there's still some bits I need to get, but the actual heater module which goes in the engine bay and then the bit that goes on the inside as well, I've got. So we're going to start by putting that in and then we're going to put as much as we can in, figure out what we need, get those parts. But the objective is to get all of the heater stuff in. That way we can get the dash in, and then once the dash is in, we can then continue to put the carpet in and the seats and the rest of the interior. So with the dash and all the wiring and all the gauges, that stuff has to be done first. So let's jump straight into getting this one in. So I'm actually doing a bit at the moment. I've got the bumper bars outside which I just painted the inside of silver. I've got some brackets which I've been painting as well, waiting to dry. I'm pulling apart all of the old roof lining and just some of the other interior bits so I can get all this cleaned up while this vent stuff's going in. And while I'm doing that, I wanted to just have a look for some bolts and stuff, and I came across the box that's got all the interior, and I'll give you guys a sneak peek because it looks awesome. Check that out. So they're the front seats, or the top half of them. All brand new vinyl there. We got the door cards, all brand new, and then we got new roof lining and all of that in there. So I'm actually going to go ahead and put these seats together. If there's any bolts or brackets and stuff that I need to paint, I can do that now, and then at least I'm not trying to do that once all this stuff's ready to go in. While I got the paint out, I'll do that now. So I'm going to put these seats on their bases and get them all bolted up and we can see how they look. I'm going to be jumping into one of the jobs that I've been kind of putting off, which is the roof lining. It is a bit of a tricky one to do, and it requires a lot of patience and being really careful because you don't want to rip the material, otherwise the whole roof lining's going out the bin. So this is the old one down here. It was faded, had tears in it, all that kind of stuff. We've got the new one just up there on the stand. And what we need to do is we need to get all the metal bars that hold this in place, and you slide them out of this one and carefully put them into the other one. And then the hard part, which is actually getting it in the car. So you need to get it in without it really touching anything, clip all those bars in, and then tuck it in around the rear glass and up around all of the trimmings around the front and everything as well. So I'm going to jump into that, going to get all the bars out, and then probably going to get a second pair of hands to help me do this so we don't stuff it up. You'll see that I've got the roller door closed today because it is absolutely gusting. There's like gusts of up to 70 kilometers an hour, and so that roller door stuff's just getting blown everywhere. So it's a bit cold today, but gives us a bit of time to work on some of these smaller, a bit more time-consuming jobs. So let's get stuck into it. doing at the moment is we're getting the vinyl on these B-pillars here. So these have to be glued on, and then they're also held on with the rubber pinch weld that goes around the door frame. So I'm going to get some contact adhesive on the back of these and on the pillars, stick these on, and then I can trim them so that they tuck in behind the pinch weld, and then I can feed the pinch weld on so it also holds in this roof lining as well. I'm going to do that on both sides, and then I can work my way forward. So I've got to get some contact adhesive on these, let it sit for 5 minutes, and then pop it on. Alright, so now that I got my cardboard template all cut out, I went and had a look to see if I had any thin plywood lying around, and I found a perfect sheet. And I flipped it over, and to my surprise, doesn't that look awfully familiar? Turns out, 5 years ago when I pulled this apart, when the old parcel tray fell apart, I pieced it back together, and I traced out a template onto this piece of plywood. I had no idea, I just literally went and made this cardboard one. Turns out I had a tracing of the original one here the whole time, so I guess that was a waste of time. But anyway, I've got a copy of the original one here, so all I need to do is cut that one out, and we're good to go.